So there might be no cheating, no abuse, and both of you are committed to your relationship. But the reality is that most men destroy their marriages in a very quiet way, right? Not because they don't care, but because they keep believing this set of subtle lies that slowly eat away at trust, at attraction, and at connection. So I call these relationship infecting delusions. And every man I've worked with has believed at least one of these in the beginning. So I'm going to walk you through them one by one so that you can try to do something differently. If you're ready to lead your relationship in a different way, this is where it starts. I'm Eric McDougall. I work with high achieving individuals and couples who are successful at life, but feel disconnected in their marriages. Oftentimes, they're stuck in these cold, disconnected dynamics where one or both partner just doesn't seem that interested in anymore. The intimacy is rare and everything feels like a transaction or a business partnership, not like two committed lovers. And the worst part is that these individuals typically don't know how they got there. But here's what I've seen over and over again in the work that I do with men and couples. It's not just about what you're doing. It's about the beliefs that you're operating from, these quiet agreements that you've made with yourself. And so in this video, I'm going to unmask some of those lies, and I want you to keep track of the ones that land for you. So lie number one is, I don't want to hurt them, so I'll stay quiet. On the surface, this sounds really noble. It's almost like you're protecting them, right? Sparing them from pain. But what you're really doing is protecting yourself from discomfort. What you're saying is, I'm too afraid to be honest because my partner might move further away from me. So you stay silent about the growing resentment. You avoid talking about the sexless marriage. You don't bring up the passive aggressive comments or how shut down your partner seems. You tell yourself, if I bring this up, it'll start a fight. It'll make things worse. So you keep it to yourself. But what happens? They can feel you pulling away. You start resenting them. And typically you become distant or cold. And they have no idea why that's happening. So here's what you want to be doing instead. Speak the truth. Not with blame, not with anger, but with presence, with love. Say something like, this is hard for me to talk about, but I care too much about us to stay silent. This matters because truth builds trust. And without trust, your marriage just becomes a transactional performance. Lie number two is, I just go along with what they want to avoid fights. This is another version of what we were just talking about. This is the slow death of leadership. You start handing over your decisions. I've seen so many men do this. You stay quiet when really you're disagreeing. You let her run the emotional tone of the relationship while you just shrink. You tell yourself it's to keep the peace, but really it's because you fear confrontation. And really you're giving up your role as a grounded leader. She might be overwhelmed and her adaptation might be to control. Then that leaves you feeling emasculated. And instead of naming it, you just try to be more agreeable. And then she gets burnt out, you're resentful, and neither one of you feels safe. And so what you want to be doing instead is you want to be bringing this up, right? I know we've both been trying to hold things together, but it's clear that we're not aligned. And I want to talk about it. This matters because your partner doesn't want somebody who's passive in the relationship. They want somebody they can co-lead with, not just obey and follow suit. Line number three is trading sex for security is just how a relationship works. Thinking this is really common in long-term marriages, especially if there's lost the emotional spark, right? You're providing, you're staying loyal, you keep the house running, but somewhere along the way, sex has become this unspoken trade. Oftentimes it's the man saying, I'll keep being dependable, and then you just keep being physically available. And both men and women play into this, right? But what starts to happen long term? She stops initiating, you start to feel unwanted, she feels used and obligated, and you're both quietly accepting this emptiness. So you have to name this. You have to break the script. You have to really ask, are we being physically intimate because we want to, or because it's what we think we should do? And this matters because sex without desire is just a performance. No one feels deeply loved when the intimacy is just reduced to transaction. And you know what that's like, having that type of sex. Line number 4 is, I can't live without you. Now, this sounds poetic, right? It sounds like love. It's what we've been taught, but it's actually emotional dependency. This lie puts your partner in the role of the rescuer, the fixer, the savior. You're asking them to be your sense of stability, your emotional oxygen. And honest, that's overwhelming for them. And it's draining for you. Now, an example is she might be pulling away emotionally. And instead of working on your own groundedness, you double down, start to panic, and try twice as hard trying to win her back. That push suffocates her and really continues to create more distance. And so instead, rebuild your life from the inside out. Be a man who chooses his partner, not clings to her. Real intimacy isn't about merging or two become one. It's about two people holding on to themselves and being in close relationship by choice, not by need. Number 5 is, let's just keep things positive and nice, right? Nice means don't rock the boat. Don't confront. Don't express the hard truths. You keep everything on the surface. You become these polite roommates, and no one ever really says what's going on. You think, well, at least we're not fighting. But what you're really saying is, I'd rather keep this fake peace than to deal with what's actually going on. So you want to be moving towards expressing that you want more than just keeping the peace. You want truth, closeness, passion, even if that means facing a bit of discomfort right now. And really understanding that nice doesn't build depth. Honesty does. And that's true intimacy. Line number 6 is, I'm doing the best I can. Are you? Right? Are you using that as an excuse to stay where you are? I've seen so many men say this, and honestly, they're avoiding growth, right? They've convinced themselves that showing up emotionally, changing patterns, or doing the deeper work is too much. And so they settle, and they just keep reacting in the same way. They keep ignoring direct feedback. They keep hoping she'll just let things slide. And that is not good for the man, the woman, or the relationship. And so instead, get real with yourself. Ask, what would it look like to actually lead here, to get uncomfortable and to grow? Your family needs your growth. It doesn't need your comfort zone. And so step up and step in so that you can show up for yourself, for your marriage, and for your family. Line number 7 is, I didn't mean to hurt you. I get it. You might not have intended to hurt them, but you did. And when you say this, what your partner typically hears is, I care more about defending myself than repairing the pain. Really, it's a way to avoid responsibility. Instead, you really want to own your impact. Say something like, I see now that my words hurt you, and that wasn't okay. I take full ownership of what I did. Repair builds emotional safety, and safety builds intimacy. Intimacy is what makes a relationship worth staying in for both partners. So own the impact that you have on your partner, especially when it hurts. Line number 8 is, I don't know what I'm feeling right now. Any form of I don't know or I don't know what I'm feeling is something men use all the time, right? Most men were not taught how to feel. They were taught how to perform, to produce, to push through. They often live outside of themselves, right? Or really just in their head. So when those emotions rise, especially in conflict, they go blank. They shut down, they numb out. They say things like, I don't know, right? But underneath, there's anger, sadness, shame, fear. And so you really want to start pausing in those moments. Connect to your breath and ask yourself about, where do I feel that tension in my body? Then name it, even if it's messy. Think about your direct felt experience. Because if you can't name what's going on for you, you can't communicate it. And your wife can't connect to just a blank man who's numbing out all the time. And so start to move beyond things like, I don't know, or I don't know what I'm feeling, and start connecting to your direct felt experience and putting words to that so that you can share your world with her, because that is what's going to create deeper connection. Lie number 9 is a tricky one, right? An emotional affair isn't cheating. Now, if you're turning to someone else for emotional validation, if you're sharing things that you won't share with your own partner, if you're hiding the relationship, you're cheating. Maybe not sexually, certainly energetically, definitely emotionally, you're stepping out. And so what you want to be doing in these situations is really closing the outside loop, right? Bring that energy back home. Face whatever you're avoiding at home. And this really matters because trust is built in 1,000 small choices, but so is betrayal. And the choices that you make will have a direct impact on the way that you can relate to your partner, for better and for worse. Lie number 10, sex should make me feel better. Sex is beautiful, right? It's powerful, it's connecting. But when you use it as a fix for anxiety, for loneliness, for low self-esteem, it becomes a pressure cooker, right? You expect sex to solve what only individual inner work can. So when she's not in the mood, you feel rejected, you spiral, right? Maybe you blame her for your emotional state. But you really want to come to the sexual experience already connected to yourself, already full, and use it as an expression of your love and your generosity, not as an escape from yourself. The best sex isn't about relief. It's about real connection. And that connection starts long before you get to the bedroom. And then the last one here, lie number 11, one of the most common ones that men use, I'll try. I'll try to be more present. I'll try to listen better. I'll try to show up differently. Trying is hesitation disguised as effort, right? Yoda said it best. Do or do not. There is no try. It sounds like you're doing something, but there's really no commitment. And your partner knows it. Instead, say, yes, I will, or no, I won't do that. Be clear. Be honest. Follow through on that. And again, this is about trust. It's built when your words mean something. Leadership is built in clarity. It's not built in maybes. And so stop with the ambiguity. Start making a commitment to yourself, whether it's a yes or a no. And be okay about changing your mind. Now, if you saw yourself in any of these lies, don't beat yourself up too much, right? This isn't about guilt or shame. This is about clarity. And this is where it starts for you. It's about choosing the kind of person that you want to be in your relationship. Most marriages don't fall apart because of one massive betrayal. They fall apart because of these tiny little paper cuts, these little lies that we tell ourselves over and over again. The ones that stop us from growing and evolving. The ones that stop us from leading and really stop us from showing up with presence, with truth, and with openness and commitment. So if you're ready to stop coasting, you're ready to stop avoiding, if you're ready to lead your relationship with courage and clarity, I've given you some extra resources below. You can download our communication blueprint. And of course, you can subscribe to the channel. I put out 2 videos a week for you to check out to really help you make sure the best years of your marriage are ahead of you. Let's rebuild some marriages that are actually worth staying in for you and your partner. Because you have to be willing to lead to make a difference. See you in the next video.